Hi. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Wales Assembly of Women for giving me the opportunity to speak to you about decent work for young people. Finding a job as a young person is not easy, and a lot depends on things that are out of your control. For instance, the colour of your skin, your gender, the type of person you are, can all influence it. However, is it really okay for people to just accept this as an unavoidable fact and make the best of the situation they're born into? Of course, people always need to do their best, but in this case, no. All youths should be afforded the same opportunities to fulfil their ambitions, whatever the circumstances, so they can make a go of having a successful career. Would you really be okay knowing that there's someone out there living in poverty, unemployed somewhere, who had to drop out of school to take care of their family, but if they'd been able to have the freedom to go to school and get the skills needed to become, say, a scientist, then they had the raw ability to cure cancer, but they didn't have the chance? Getting into work can be hard, and in some countries it's hard because the school system doesn't support the gaining of necessary skills to get into a field of skilled work. In some countries it's harder to get into work because children are entrusted with responsibilities that restrict their education and therefore their chance to succeed in the desired field. Now, there are plenty of jobs in all countries around the world, but the most important thing, and what we're talking about here, is decent work. Work where you feel valued as an individual and as a human. I spent December working in a local arboretum selling Christmas trees, and whilst it possibly wasn't the most intellectually challenging job, I at least felt valued, safe and secure in my workplace. You feel that you have dignity and freedom, and these are basic rights, and that everyone should experience in their jobs. And although they're possibly taken for granted in a lot of places, in others it's much harder, and it's this imbalance that needs to be addressed. Nowadays, in many countries in Africa, schools are encouraging people to become job creators rather than job seekers. And practically it's possibly right that this approach is taken, in contrast to the approach taken in, say, the UK, where schools are more likely to shepherd children towards qualifications and passing exams, as opposed to more practical, applicable skills. Because in Africa currently, youths are a fair bit less likely to go on to further education or university. And as a result of credential inflation and employers demanding more and more higher class qualifications, it's the best option for them, because they can make something for themselves and not have to rely on the job market being open to them at that particular time. But it's still not perfect by any means, and it's very much a sort of high-risk, high-gain strategy, and there's no guarantee of success. And the answer to that is support organisations for youth. Youth unemployment is so important. There needs to be people there that can help. If somebody's not been able to find employment as a youth, then they're in danger of falling into a rut where the long time spent away from work can lose that person, losing their skills, and mean that they're going to find it harder to obtain work in the future. Employers are much more likely to take candidates who are sort of fresh out of school, and those skills are still fresh in their mind. Organisations, for example, in the UK, like Hard Design, which is interested in helping young people to secure employment through developing and showcasing digital skills. They offer paid work experience projects, giving young people the ability and skills to develop in a business environment. It's these kind of things that needed to be implemented in a lot of different countries to afford everyone the same opportunity to fulfil their ambitions. If employers are confident that people have had experience in real-life business situations, such as provided by this kind of practice, then there'll be less of a problem with inflexible labour markets being unwilling to offer work to young people. In South Africa, there's one of the worst unemployment rates in the world, with nearly a quarter of the population unemployed, and the majority of them under the age of 35. So clearly this is an example of where help and support is needed. A good example to illustrate this was provided by the National Planning Commission of South Africa and involves a young girl called Thandi. She's one of a group of children who entered school together in 1999. Of that group, only 54% made it to the last year of formal schooling. Of those who took the exam to graduate, only 25% scored well enough to go on to higher education. And of those few, any who are young, black and female, as Thandi is, and who have gone to a predominantly black school, had only a 4% chance of going to university. Even if Thandi were among that 4%, the odds of her having the money to go to university would be slim. These are not fair odds, and more needs to be done to help people in this kind of situation. Thanks.